Firecracker-related injuries, always a dampener on our New Year's celebration. Will there be fewer cases of these as we ring in 2019? I'm Pia Hontiveros. Our guests for this episode, Health Undersecretary Enrique Domingo and Police Chief Superintendent Valeriano De Leon. He's Director of the Firearms and Explosives Office of the PNP. Yusek Domingo and General De Leon, thank you very much for being here tonight. Well, this is very timely because we're all looking forward to celebrating New Year's Eve, and syempre ang unang-unang tanong ng mga tao is what's going to happen again. However, Yusek Domingo, you were a resident, right?
Yeah.
25 years ago in PGH, attending to fireworks or firecracker-related injuries. Can you ikwento mo muna sa amin what it was like 25 years ago?
It was like a war zone. I remember the day before, like the 30th, we'd have like the whole pasillo of PGH. We'd have chairs and tables there and lights, and we'd have like hundreds of doctors on duty just because they really came in.
In droves,
no? Like in by hundreds.
Yeah.
But since like 5-10 years ago, that has been quite, that scene doesn't happen anymore. So we just have our emergency room, of course, still code white, meaning all of the doctors who have to be there are on duty. Nobody sleeps on December 31.
Yeah.
But the numbers have been a lot more manageable recently.
Yeah. Why are they a lot more manageable recently?
Well, the fireworks campaign, the Iwas Paputok campaign, showing the gory hands, the amputated limbs, that caused a big decrease at the start. But recently, it's really the banning of firecrackers and the difficulty in buying and selling them and using them, especially in the homes. I think this has helped a lot.
Yeah. General De Leon, bawal ang firecrackers, using firecrackers sa bahay,
yes,
sa villages,
Pia,
no?
It's an absolute bawal sa bahay. Basta firecrackers, this is an effect of a sound. You can only use this allowable firecrackers in a community fireworks display.
And of course, when we say firecrackers, we are talking about yung bawal sa bahay. We are talking about what?
We are talking of any firecrackers, meaning the primary effect is sound.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you name firecrackers? Because some people will say na, hindi naman firecracker yun.
Yung mga baby rocket, these are allowed in the community fireworks display. This is not also allowed in the residence. No?
Okay.
Of course, kahit nasa community display mo siya gamitin, when you talk about giant, piccolo, what to see, or shall we say, super lolo, atomic bomb, yan na yung mga bawal, even if it is being lighted in the community fireworks display.
You say bawal, meaning it should not be sold.
Yes.
But there are vendors that sell them still. Di ba? Punta ka ng Bulacan, halimbawa.
We had a lot of community awareness on this all over the country. Marami tayong awareness. We involve themes coming from our local officers so that we have a uniform interpretation of the law. So sila ngayon ay kailangan kumpiskahin yun and will file corresponding case. So
ang pwede sa mga bahay, whether they are in gated subdivisions, middle-class subdivisions, or even in very poor areas, are yung tinatawag na fireworks, yung lucis. Right? So lucis meaning?
Yung consumer pyrotechnics, ang effect nito is light. No?
Okay.
Meron siyang sound, but the primary effect is light.
Meaning, for example, fountains, whether they are big or small.
Yes.
Roman candles ba are considered lucis?
Yes, Roman candles.
Roman candles, sparklers, for example.
Sparklers, baby rockets, and so on. So, yung mga maliliit lang, no? There is a quantity that is allowed, 0.2 grams, no, sa firecrackers.
Okay.
Sa fireworks naman, more than 3 inches of the tube is already not allowed. It should be supervised by an expert.
Oo. Yusek Domingo, kanina you said that what are the numbers now? No, they're not very big now compared to before, no? So ngayon, you have how many injuries so far?
December 21 to January 4, that's the usual period that we monitor. In 2016, we had about 633 cases. This went down in 2017 to 463 cases. And this year, since we started monitoring in December 21, we've had 32 cases. This is about 50% of the cases we had last year, given the same period. And,
Do we expect this to go up at, hahabol pa siya dun sa 463 or what?
Dumadami talaga yan yung December 31, January 1. No? That's when the injuries happen and the reports come in. But if we keep on at the same rate, we hope maybe to have half of the cases that we had last year.
Itong 32, let's break it down. No? 32, what? Men, women, children?
Well, 90% are men. No? So most of them, 28 of them were men. And usually, the ones who are affected are really the young boys, no? Mga 14, 15-year-olds.
Yeah, why?
Sila yung mapangahas, no? They like firecrackers and they're not really experienced. They probably don't know exactly what will happen. This is the careless teenager who will dare and do something.
So careless
really
teenager, kung teenager yon. But you said there are 28, of the 32 injured, 28 are men. These are grown men. They are not teenagers.
We have as old as 50. No? The age range is 2 to 50. We have 47-year-olds and 50-year-olds. Men.
So what were they doing? Experimenting?
Well, it's in some communities it's a big thing. No, they do fireworks, especially pag nakainom na. No, I think this is also one of those things that we ask everybody. Once you're under the influence of alcohol, your reflexes are not as quick.
And you don't think well, right?
Yeah, your judgment is
severely impaired.
Is impaired. So it's not a good time to do fireworks.
So itong halimbawa, itong 28 of the 32, 28 men of these 32 na injured so far from December 21 until today, itong 28 men na to, lahat ba yan lasing?
Well, no, not all of them, no. Very few, and especially the children were not, no.
Yeah.
The children were not. Talagang lang that's why half of them were injured using illegal firecrackers. So talagang ito yung mga sumasabog, may risk talaga ng injury.
When the doctors find out na illegal firecrackers yung ginamit nila, tinatanong ba sa pasyente na, alam mo ba na illegal yan?
Well,
and then what do they say? Alam ko, ganon? Hindi ko alam.
Alam naman nila.
Alam nila?
Yeah, they do. They know that they were not supposed to play with it. But then of course we coordinate with the community, yung barangay, and then the police in the community.
Yeah, and what is this? Parang a macho culture thing, yung parang to prove na lalaki ka, na matapang ka, kaya mong maghawak ng. Ganun ba yun?
I guess it's a part of growing up for a lot of people. And
but these are grown men, sabi mo. Come on, you mean they're not yet grown up?
Well, in some ways, maybe they haven't matured completely.
That's why I was asking you, lasing ba sila? Karamihan pala hindi lasing. So, what is it?
It's cultural, I guess, possibly. That they just, yung matapang ka, kung ikaw yung pinakamaiksi yung mitsa bago mo ibato.
Wow,
it sounds so stupid, no? But it happens.
Yeah, cultural. But in the end, when they come to their senses, for lack of a better term, and when they realize na, naputulan ako ng 3 daliri.
Yeah, when you lose
what
like
do they
60% of the utility of your hand, of your right hand, then you realize how foolish it was, and by then it's too late. Because blast injuries, we rarely are able to put your hands back together.
Yeah, you don't really,
kasi sabog
do you sew the fingers back?
If it's a clean wound, for example, a knife, and it's cut cleanly, then you can sew it back.
You can still sew it back kahit na nahiwalay.
Yung firecrackers kasi blast ito It's a blast injury, so durog yan. So there's really nothing to put back together. We just have to cut it at the cleanest way possible.
And these 28 men of the 32 injured so far, all over the country, what areas do they come from, and what class?
Well, they're all over, no? They're all over the Philippines. This, so far, usually every year pinakamadami talaga sa NCR, no?
And where in NCR?
In the city of Manila. And there's like 2 barangays in Tondo, no? But I think talagang palakasan siguro sila ng sabog. So yung ospital ng Tondo, lagi yan, ready yan. It's one of the first hospitals that we make sure is prepared, no, to receive patients. So I guess there are some communities where it's really a big thing.
Do you get to find out, is it in your database? For example, these 28 men of the 32 injured so far, no, from December 21st until today, like ano yung trabaho nila?
That one's not included, no?
Not included. Because, for example, if you don't have enough fingers in one hand, it might affect your work.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a complete, it is going to be a partial disability, but a permanent one. So, yung trabaho nila would be affected. Definitely, a lot of them would be losing employment. We've had 4 amputations so far, no, this year, and
amputation ng
fingers.
Fingers ng. Wala namang so far amputation ng kamay.
Wala pa namang buong kamay. Usually it's fingers, but you know, each finger has like 20 to 30% of the function of your hand. So talagang it affects.
General De Leon, tell us naman the horror stories that you've witnessed, that you've heard about, and well, lalo na you are FEO chief of the PNP, so I'm sure you've come across many of them already.
Yeah,
and it's good to hear them, para you know, medyo matauhan yung nakikinig.
Yeah, it's nice to stop all of this, no? Pero in a regulated mode. I spent in Davao Christmas and New Year. It's very nice to recall the birth of Jesus Christ in a very solemn way, no? But here in Luzon, medyo mahirap pang baguhin. Kaya nga itong mga pinalabas ng ating Pangulo, si Presidente Duterte, yung aming istriktuhan ng pagbibigay ng mga lisensya sa mga retailers, including the manufacturers. In fact, there is an inspection sa mga iba't ibang manufacturing. No? So, we also suspend the processing of the new applicants. No? As,
may new applicants pa rin?
Yeah,
hanggang ngayon?
Hanggang ngayon. You know, it's also a means
tapos
of
ng Pasko,
living.
Okay.
There is also a means of
may
living.
humahabol pa rin?
May gusto humahabol, but when Malacanang issued the Memorandum Circular 31, immediately we cut all the new applicants to intend to retail fireworks.
Yeah, ang haba na pala ng usapan natin. I think we need to take a very short break. This is On the Record. We'll be right back. Welcome back to On the Record. We're talking about ringing 2019 in safely. Still our guests, General Valeriano De Leon of the PNP FEO Firearms and Explosives Office, and Yusek Domingo of the Health Department, a veteran of many New Year's Eve. So this is a vast improvement, like you were saying earlier. So again, just to remind people, yung firecrackers, banned yon sa mga bahay. Pwede lang yon sa mga community areas, common areas.
That's correct, Ms. Pia.
And ang pwede sa mga bahay, in whatever kind of subdivision, ay yung mga lucis, yung mga ilaw.
Luces, yeah.
Oo. So, in a way, it is, parang wala naman talagang problema sa fireworks or firecrackers because we've seen very nice displays, for example, but it's really in the handling or the mishandling.
That's correct, Ms. Pia. Kaya nga, before the season, we go around the country to make public awareness on the safety, including the seminars that we need to impart to our retailers.
What about, because everybody knows na ang daming fireworks factories, quote-unquote, in Bulacan. And there are some people who have said that, for example, when they go to these factories, no, na they have, well, horrible conditions, horrific conditions, and sometimes there are children who work there, for example. Is that what is still going on at this point?
Yes, there is. And in fact, we have directed the Explosives Management Division of FEO to conduct inspection to all of this and to ensure that safety procedures are being observed.
Okay. Yusek Domingo, bukod sa yung nasasabungan yung kamay or other parts of the body, syempre yung isang problema yung ingestion,
yeah, no?
And it's really children, right?
Yeah. Aside from burns, no, and blast injuries, one thing that we always watch out for this time is ingestion, accidental ingestion, because these are poisonous substances, na especially if small children take them in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some parents leave them lying around, no, accessible to
When you
children.
say them, what do they leave lying around?
Because some of the small firecrackers and then look like candy, you know, they're wrapped in foil.
Yeah.
And you know, a child could easily mistake it for a toy or food or candy that they can put in their mouths. By this year, we've already had 2 cases. We had a 3-year-old girl before Christmas who was brought to the hospital. She was fortunately discharged well, no? Before nakapagpasko naman sa bahay. Okay. But after Christmas on the 26th, we had to admit another 6-year-old boy Again, this time ingestion of a firecracker. They call it a pili cracker.
Pili cracker?
Yeah, it's a small one. Looks like a baby. Looks like candy. And the child still admitted, because he was showing some mild signs of toxicity.
Toxicity meaning there might be some poisoning.
Yes, poisoning of the organs, like the liver, and some changes there that we have to watch out for.
And of course, the only way to avoid something like that is not to leave.
Not to leave them lying around. Children cannot
no?
distinguish between a firecracker and a piece of candy or a toy or cookies, diba? If it's wrapped around. They have no experience.
NCR din ito, no? Yung dalawang bata.
NCR. These two cases
Where?
are
Manila?
from NCR. I think one is in Manila, the other one is in another municipality.
Okay. Manila, Tondo, no?
No, I don't think so.
Hindi
That
naman.
is one, no.
Okay. So, like you said, 32 injured so far. That is as of
December 27th, early today.
early
6 a.m.
today,
Yeah,
6 a.m.
Yeah.
May nadagdag ba? Because it's 12 hours na since.
Yeah, we're going to get the report again at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So yung 24 hours na nakalipas, I think there were 8 cases extra.
Okay.
So we get about 8 to 10 a day since the 21st.
Okay. And there are also eye injuries, for example.
Yeah, that's one. It's one big the common injuries are really hand injuries and then eye injuries, especially when young boys, they pick up yung hindi sumabog or namumulot, tapos titignan nila, puputok. And then there's this contraption that they use, they call it a boga.
Boga?
It's a PVC pipe, and they put kerosene in it. It's a combustible, and then tinitingnan nila yung
So this is something na pwedeng homemade?
Yeah,
kumbaga?
homemade. Talagang it's supposed to make noise, but there's an explosion, and it can hurt a person. And yung eyes I think we've had 9 cases so far who came in for ophthalmologic problems.
Okay. So of the 9 cases, young boys yon.
Karamihan sa kanila boys.
Ba, yung iba, grown men?
Meron din grown men. Yeah.
Okay, sige. And then, when you say eye injury, are they blind now? What?
Well, no. Fortunately, we have no serious blindness yet, no. But some of them, the shrapnel, because it's like sand, going into your eyes. But since there's a high velocity, it sticks to your cornea and embeds there. So you have to wash it out. You have to clean it, remove those little rocks there one by one.
Wow.
Because if it's scars, you're still going to go blind.
Yeah. Oh. Ano ba yung siguro you doctors, no? You observe these people who are brought in, so they're patients, and of course they're in pain, right?
Yeah.
Yung them being in pain, is that a lesson enough for them, or for people they know, or? Well,
hopefully it's a lesson enough for them. The problem is if you get a permanent disability, it's going to be a lesson for life. Every day of your life, you're going to remember that. You're going to remember the foolishness and what happened to you and the accident that happened.
Okay. General De Leon, you have here although it's National Operations Center, so you're monitoring all firecrackers and stray bullet incidents. Can we go through them very briefly lang, just so that we are aware of the possible na pwedeng mangyari na masama. So, ano tong incidents? 60. You have 60 incidents for illegal possession, use, sale of firecrackers, stray bullet, illegal discharge of firearms, fire, burning due to firecrackers, incidents due to firecrackers. Can we go through that?
Yes, meron pa rin mga mamamayan na illegal discharge. But the quick response of the Philippine National Police, meron naman tayong series of arrests dito. No? And those responsible will face the consequence of their acts.
Yung stray bullet, hindi naman siya palaging galing sa sundalo o sa police. Meron din mga civilians, ano?
Meron din pa sa civilian. No?
Because we always have this, kami sa media sanay kami, pag 31 December, siniselyado yung mga baril ng mga police, ng mga...
Yeah.
Pero dapat siguro pati yung mga sa civilian.
The commanders are at liberty to come up with their own innovations so that the force, yung aming kapulisan ay matakot na gumamit nito.
Pero karamihan ngayon natatakot Hindi ba? I mean...
they protect their chosen profession. No? Kasi kung if you'll be caught, tapos nakaharm ka pa, it will cost your career.
Yeah. Well, what do we do about civilians who insist on firing their guns?
Well, initially for FEO, we will, if that is a license holder, we can revoke their firearms and pwede naming ipataw ang perpetual disqualification for owning a firearm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But usually, pag stray bullet case, nalalaman ba kung saan galing? Is there a way to...
It depends. No? Meron yung sa shell, meron yung sa slug. No? And meron tayong ballistics. Before a firearm is released sa FEO, meron tayong mga ballistics records niya. No? And yung cross-matching nito is very critical in prosecuting the suspects.
General De Leon, dito sa, in the numbers that you've provided, nakalagay dito items confiscated. So meron pa ring Piccolo, Super Lolo, Lolo Thunder, Atomic, Big Triangulo, Plapla.
I presume that these are old stocks, no? Because the Bureau of Customs is very strict on this. No? They don't allow, especially Piccolo. Ito yung talagang pinagbabawal because the DOH has recorded a very malaki ang statistics ng napinsala.
Top notch. Bakit?
We
Ba't
used to have like hundreds of them.
Well, hahawakan mo kasi yun.
Sisindihan mo siya eh.
Para siyang, di ba?
It's just like a match. It's just like a match that when
A big one.
pag yung fuse nito ay hindi calculated, baka before you throw it,
Puputok mo sa
And that is how you are supposed to use
to
it.
ignite it.
To ignite it.
Ignite it like a match.
Yeah.
And last year, I think we had 140 cases. So far yan, we've had 3. No? So kung bumababa, pero dati yan talaga yung vast majority. It's the Piccolo.
Time for another very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We're on the final stretch of the program. General De Leon, yung mga fireworks are locally manufactured, hindi ba? Wala nang imported.
Yes, that is importation is not allowed.
Okay. Pero meron pa ring nahuhuli?
Meron nahuhuli ang customs kasi sila ang final gateway natin.
Okay, like what? What kind? At anong...
Iba-iba. Iba-iba yung nahuhuli nila.
How do they dispose of that?
Meron tayong protocols on that. No? They will ask permission from us and then we will issue the order na masira siya.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying, in fact, meron ka sasabihin sana?
Meron silang, in fact, meron mga nahuli doon na nakapending for destruction.
Okay. Yusek Domingo, how would you, if there is such a thing, how would you convince people na huwag na kayo magpaputok?
Well, you know,
niyo?
yung ginagawa namin dati, pinapakita namin talaga yung disability, the injury that happens with the mangled hands. And, we wish we don't have to resort to this. No? I mean, common sense naman, wag po tayong magsunog ng pera. Tapos susunugin na natin siya, makakapinsala pa sa atin. No? And knowing that it's really the children who are at risk. These are young people who have their careers ahead of them. Talagang nakakalungkot naman na completely preventable ito na the illness, completely preventable na injury, mangyayari at saka magkakaroon ng kapansanan habang buhay yung ating mga anak.
John De Leon, how will you appeal to people?
For the meantime, let us contend what is allowed by law. No? Before the President will make the total ban. No? Sa Davao City, wala ka na talagang marinig. No? It's a celebration, very solemn. Sa ngayon, at allowed pa ito, dito, let us content ourselves doon sa tama lang, yung mahina lang. Just to drive away demons, sabi nila dito sa mga kinuugalian dito sa Luzon. So, sa ngayon, ang ating Philippine National Police ay patuloy na nagkakandak ng operations para makumpiska at hindi makapagdulot ng sakuna sa mga tao.
All right. General De Leon of the PNP's FEO and Yusek Domingo of the Health Department. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. That is on the record this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Pia Hontiveros.